Junichi was just your average hopeless virgin. No luck with girls, zero charm, and surrounded by friends equally allergic to romance. That all changed the day he was dared to confess to the most popular girl in school, a moment that unexpectedly launched him into legendary status as the guy every girl suddenly wanted to father their children. It all began at the start of a new semester. Lovebirds filled every hallway, couples held hands like it was a competition, and Junichi sat in the middle of it all with his fellow single brothers in arms, Shinpei, Kigo, and Minoru. Even in class, they were surrounded by heart-eyed couples, something that slowly crushed Shinpei's lonely soul. Watching all this PDA, Junichi wondered why the anime gods had forsaken him. Was it too much to ask for a girl who'd fulfill all his desires and maybe whisper a few sweet senpai? Suddenly, Nene, his childhood friend, burst in like a Pokemon encounter, delivering the lunch he forgot at home. Despite her tiny frame and generous proportions, Junichi wasn't interested in her. But that didn't stop Nene from flirting hard. After she left, the guys swarmed him like hungry wolves, begging to meet the legendary Nene and her. Heavenly blessings. They spiraled into a rant about her being the ultimate combo: short, stacked, and dangerously flirty. Then, another girl entered the scene, Yui, a sweet, flat-chested beauty with black hair and a warm smile. She was thrilled to be in the same class as Junichi again, but his friends wasted no time whispering about her as well, marveling at how elegance could come without curves. Soon enough, they pulled out their sacred educational materials, magazines filled with culturally enriching photos, and didn't even bother hiding it. While Junichi disapproved, Shinpei tempted him with a fresh spread of Mia Malkova, causing Junichi's brain to crash. That's when it happened. A girl appeared out of nowhere, and Junichi dropped the magazine at her feet in horror. The girl, Yuka, didn't hold back. She called him out as a degenerate and mocked the size of his shrimp. His pride shattered. Later, the group started admiring Yuka, confessing that they'd let her step on them any day. Shinpei then proposed a wild idea: they should try hitting on her. He claimed, based on extensive research, that girls like Yuka secretly craved attention and folded easily under pressure. Junichi, now imagining steamy scenarios with her, was somehow convinced. And before he knew it, the group had designated him as the sacrificial lamb to confess to her. Yuka, meanwhile, received a love letter they'd written for him and canceled her plans with her best friend, Hanka, to meet this mysterious admirer. When she confronted Junichi, he immediately realized he'd been set up. But part of him didn't care. He desperately wanted to lose his virginity. So he dropped to his knees and begged Yuka to date him. She recognized him as the same guy from earlier, the one with the pervy magazine, and Junichi instantly imagined a doomed future where everyone treated him like a shameless creep. But down there, from his groveling angle, he caught a glimpse of Yuka's blessings, and that alone reignited his will to live. When Yuka asked what he liked about her, he stumbled, trying not to say the obvious. She saw right through it and told him outright she wouldn't date someone just looking to score. Panicked, Junichi started spiraling into a mental breakdown, picturing himself as a notorious villain who dated her for shallow reasons. Deep down, he wanted to run, but what he saw between her legs gave his inner caveman the strength to keep going. Yuka caught him staring again and called him out, only to lean in and tempt him for another look. When he fell for it, she burst into laughter, exposing his thirsty mindset. She suddenly asked him if he really liked her. Tired of being teased, Junichi resigned himself to a life of failure. But Yuka surprised him again. She leaned closer and said that she actually liked him, and that they could go out. That night, Junichi couldn't sleep. He couldn't believe it. The gods of anime had finally smiled upon him, blessing him with a real girl full of plot. The next morning, as he tried to process his new, plot-heavy situation, his friends showed up to apologize for the prank. They assumed it had gone terribly. Junichi worried that Yuka might just be playing with him to make him look like a fool. But his buddies reassured him that no matter what, they'd remain loyal virgin brothers for life. Out of nowhere, Junichi received a cute selfie from Yuka, and when his friends saw it, they absolutely lost their minds. They instantly treated him like garbage, consumed by envy. As Junichi tried to defend himself, Shinpei interrupted with a burning question. Had he kissed Yuka yet? When Junichi said no, Shinpei confidently replied that for a girl like Yuka, kissing was probably just a casual greeting. That hit Junichi hard. He realized he'd eventually need to kiss her, on both her upper and lower lips. His imagination spiraled. That's when Shinpei told him the next step was obvious. take her to karaoke. According to Shimp's research, karaoke booths were like secret lairs for private moments. He painted a wild picture of girls like Yukana singing suggestive songs, then slowly revealing their plans, before eventually going full devour mode on their manly glizzy. The next day at school, Yui greeted Junichi like usual, but then Yukana arrived and casually got close to him. When she announced they were dating, the classroom, and probably their mothers, were left stunned. After school, Junichi tried to catch up with his friends, but they coldly told him to go choke on dirt. Yukana appeared right after and invited him to hang out with her instead. Nene, who was waiting nearby to walk home with Junichi, froze in shock when she saw him holding hands with Yukana. The couple headed to karaoke, and Junichi couldn't stop thinking this was the moment. His mind ran wild, only to crash back to reality when he realized he only knew the song Sandstorm and its endless remixes. Worse still, it seemed like he was just filling in for Yukana's usual friends. In the booth, a sign warning, "Do not shake the girl's boobs," instantly sent him into panic mode. When Yukana returned with drinks and leaned in to sit, Junichi nearly screamed, convinced she was baiting him into action. His brain imagined Yukana taking control and singing songs full of happy noises. But in reality, she was just enjoying herself. She sang a few fun tracks, and Junichi realized he had to stop being shy and show her what his vocal cords could do. Eventually, they sang together, an upbeat duet with no degeneracy, just genuine fun. After the song, Yukana revealed she was also a bit of a nerd and knew tons of anime songs. Junichi thought she was just trying to make him feel less lame. Then, things heated up. Yukana started removing some layers, and Shimpiai's wild prediction echoed in Junichi's mind. Sensing an opportunity, he leaned in to kiss her, but she stopped him, pointing out he had a nose hair sticking out. His hopes shattered. While Yukana went to the bathroom, she blushed at the thought that he had almost kissed her. Meanwhile, Junichi cursed his nasal traitor. When Yukana came back, she thanked him for the day and asked if they could go on more dates together. What neither of them realized was that Hanko had been secretly watching. The next morning, Junichi found a mysterious love letter in his locker, inviting him on a date. His friends read it and were emotionally devastated, asking who on earth would be desperate enough to fall for him. Junichi didn't want to go, out of loyalty to Yukana, but his friends hit him with reverse psychology, claiming Yukana might be disappointed if he didn't respond. Kigo tried to be the voice of reason, but was instantly bribed with the possibility of Junichi forming a harem and sharing the spoils. Motivated by that, they fully supported him going to meet the mystery girl. That girl turned out to be Hanko, and Junichi immediately panicked. She gave off the kind of vibe that could crush him with one hand. She leaned in, sniffed him, and instantly diagnosed him as a virgin. Then she started flirting, sweet-talking him like he was some kind of wholesome puppy. Hanko offered him a quickie, which caused Junichi to slip and fall. She climbed on top of him, joking about finding his pickle. Right then, Yukana showed up. Junichi braced for a meltdown, but instead, Yukana calmly asked Hanko to get off of him. She introduced Hanko as her best friend, though one with smaller melons. Hanko used the moment to tease Yukana, putting on a playful little show for Junichi, who began to mentally spiral into scissor thoughts. Hanko, never one to hold back, asked Yukana if she had sealed the deal with Junichi. Yukana ignored her and walked off with him, leaving Hanko annoyed and secretly vowing to split them up. That night, Yukana casually suggested that the three of them hang out together sometime. The next day, they went bowling, laughed, and acted like a strangely functional trio. But while they played, Nene happened to see them and walked away in tears. The chaotic trio decided to hit the mall, trying on outfits and goofing around. Yukana asked Junichi to help her choose between two looks, both of which sent his brain into dangerous territory. Before he could decide, Hanko jumped in and picked the other option, effectively demoting Junichi to third wheel status. In another store, the girls roped him into a private fashion show. Junichi zoned out, too focused on his own internal fantasies to notice anything. Yukana grew annoyed at his lack of compliments, and Hanko, seeing it all, started getting jealous herself. As they left the shop, a couple of random sleazebags approached the girls, trying to flirt. Junichi, channeling his inner shonen hero, attempted to defend them, but got folded like Yamcha in 5 seconds. Hanko stepped in, telling the creeps they could take her instead. They let her off, only for Hanko to return minutes later, having shown them who was boss. Later that day, Junichi walked home alone, feeling pathetic for not being able to protect Yuck-Anna. But waiting outside his house was none other than Hanko. She praised him for trying and suddenly confessed that she liked him. She pulled him into her home and sat beside him on the couch, before climbing on top of him and asking him to take care of her. When Junichi hesitated, Hanko got bolder, pressing her body against him and insisting she could give him what Yuck-Anna wouldn't. She offered to take his virginity right then and there. But Junichi, remembering Yukana's smile, summoned the strength to resist. He told Hanko flat out that he wanted his first time to be with her, not anyone else. Furious, Hanko shoved him back and yelled at him to keep his dirty cucumber away from Yuck-Anna. Confused and angry, she demanded to know why Yuck-Anna would choose someone like him. And in that moment, Junichi realized something. Hanko wasn't just into him, she had feelings for Yuck-Anna. Just as things were escalating, Yuck-Anna entered the room and told Hanko to stop. Panicked, Hanko assumed Yuck-Anna had overheard her confession, but Yuck-Anna had no clue what was going on. Instead, she accused both of them of betraying her behind her back. Quick on her feet, Hanko lied, saying she was just testing Junichi's loyalty. Yuck-Anna sighed with relief, thanked her for approving the relationship, and even said she loved her. That triggered a flood of memories for Hanko, including the moment she first fell for Yuck-Anna, and she broke down crying, apologizing. Junichi thought everything was resolved, but the next day, Hanko pulled him aside and threatened him. She told him not to tell anyone about her feelings for Yuck-Anna. While that drama unfolded, a new threat was lurking, a narcissistic girl named Yui, who thought the universe revolved around her. When she first met Junichi, she assumed he'd be nothing more than a good little dog to lick her feet. That night, after everything that had happened with Yuck-Anna and Hanko, Junichi found himself scrolling online and relieving stress. He came across a streamer named Boa, who was venting about a guy who ghosted her. Junichi left a casual comment, calling her cute. The next morning at school, Yui arrived and immediately treated everyone like servants. She overheard a conversation behind her. Junichi and his friends were talking about Boa and how adorable she was. Shinpei squinted at the screen and almost recognized her, but his brain short-circuited from too much Johnny SS. At lunch, Junichi sat with Yuck-Anna, fantasizing about her feeding him strawberries mouth to mouth. But reality crashed back when he realized Hanko was still with them. After the stunt she pulled, Junichi was convinced she was plotting something again. She gave him a look that practically screamed, "I'll make you cry later." Then Yui approached, asking to speak with Junichi alone. Hanko immediately snapped, telling her to back off. Yui walked away smirking, and Hanko turned to Junichi and asked if that was the mother of his future child. He reassured her Yui meant nothing. Later, as Yuck-Anna left to hang out with her friends, she warned Junichi not to do anything dumb while she was gone. Right on cue, Yui showed up and innocently asked for help with a task the teacher had given her. They ended up at a cafe, confusing Junichi. This didn't seem like teacher-related work. He remembered what Shinpei said about quiet girls being the most dangerous. Sure enough, Yui wasn't here for schoolwork. She wanted to talk about his relationship with Yuck-Anna. When Junichi confirmed they were dating, Yui's mood shifted, clearly bothered. Meanwhile, back at school, Shinpei was busy putting together clues. He'd been watching Boa's streams, and when he heard her refer to her loyal followers, something finally clicked. He knew who she really was. The next day, Yuck-Anna could only watch as Yui continued to shamelessly admire her boyfriend, Junichi, and that made Yuck-Anna burn with jealousy. What she didn't know was that, just a few feet away, Shinpei was snapping secret photos of Yui. Later, Shinpei gathered the boys and revealed a discovery. He had finally figured out who Boa really was. As the others drooled over the idea of getting Boa's social ID, Shinpei dropped the real bomb. Boa wasn't some far-off idol. She was way closer than they thought. He showed a photo comparing Boa and Yui side by side, then played an audio clip of Boa talking about her loyal servants. The resemblance was undeniable. The guys stared at the evidence, stunned. It was Yui. Right then, Hanko appeared behind them, scaring the life out of everyone. She demanded to know everything they'd just discovered about Yui. Later, Yui was still staring at Junichi with the intensity of a possessive cat, which pushed Yuck-Anna over the edge. Instead of walking home with him, she decided to leave with her friends. Yui took advantage of the moment and dragged Junichi up to the rooftop, frying his monkey brain with confusion. Once there, she confessed her love for him, but not in any normal way. She told him she wanted to be his mistress, the one who would squeeze out his cream every night. Then she asked him to dump Yuck-Anna, claiming she deserved his cucumber all to herself. Junichi, caught completely off guard, rejected her offer, saying Yukana's puddings were far superior to her flat cards. That lit a fuse in Yui. Her sweet act vanished as she called him her disloyal dog and reminded him that, as her pet, he had no right to love anyone else. Then she pulled out her trump card, a video recording of their outing at the cafe. If Junichi didn't break up with Yukana, she'd show her the footage. Just when Junichi was about to cave, his backup arrived, in the form of Hanko and the three lovable idiots who made a gloriously awkward entrance. Yui scoffed, calling out Hanko and her fake tan cheeks, but that only made Hanko smirk. Hanko leaned in and whispered something devastating into Yui's ear. She knew Yui was Boa. That shattered Yui's bimbo heart. Broken and cornered, she handed the video over to Junichi and stormed off past the real heroes, the three dorks who somehow saved the day. Though Hanko really wanted to beat Junichi up, she told him she helped only because she didn't want to see Yukana sad. Just then, Yukana showed up and asked Junichi to walk home with her. On the way, he assured her that there was nothing between him and Yui. Yukana didn't seem bothered. She knew Junichi only messed up with her. The next morning, Junichi dreamed of Yukana waking him up and also waking up his little soldier. Just as things were about to escalate in the dream, he jolted awake, holding someone. There was a girl in his bed. Not just any girl. A busty one claiming to be Nene, his childhood friend. Junichi was stunned and confused. Why was she in his room? On the way to school, Nene clung to him like glue. Junichi panicked, praying no one would see them. But of course, his friends did. Upon seeing Nene and her flotation devices, they cried out to the anime gods, wondering why Junichi got all the girls while they starved for affection. They begged for an introduction. But when Nene said she was his childhood friend, the guys screamed and ran off, cursing Junichi and his girlfriend collection. Later, Junichi ran into Yui, who was back to acting sweet and innocent. She asked him not to tell anyone about what had happened. But the moment passed as Nene walked up, and she instantly caught the scent of another girl on him. She knew. When she laid eyes on Yui, she recognized her scent, the one from that flat-chested goblin. The two stared each other down. Nene saw right through Yui's act and began taunting her. In class, Junichi was totally drained from all the chaos. When Yukana greeted him, she noticed how tired he looked. Wanting to cheer him up, she invited him out over the weekend, instantly reviving his spirit. At lunch, he sat with Yukana and Hanko. In a surprising move, Yukana shoved her bread into Junichi's mouth, telling him to experience the taste of a woman. Then Nene arrived and joined the table. She offered Junichi a homemade cookie, and then licked him to taste his sweat. Yukana wasn't thrilled. Hanko asked, "Who is this disproportionate gremlin?" Junichi knew he was in trouble. In his mind, he imagined Hanko body slamming him in a wrestling ring, stealing Yukana away. But instead, Yukana stayed calm. After getting a good look at Nene's massive chest, she just smiled and said, "She's cute." Nene tried to assert dominance, but nothing shook Yukana's composure. Desperate to one-up her, Nene started searching for something she could use to win. Then, she found it, and a battle of the busts began, a full-on showdown of 4 bouncing balloons. Yukana, unfazed, invited Hanko to join the chaos. Junichi, meanwhile, had a philosophical moment, wondering why all the great wars in history hadn't just been resolved with cute girls doing whatever this was with their pet boys. Nene had finally had enough. She accused Yukana of being fake, claiming she was only dating Junichi out of pity, knowing full well he couldn't get a girl otherwise. Yukana, visibly hurt, asked why Nene would think that. Nene snapped back, saying she knew Junichi longer than anyone. That cut deep. Yukana shot back with her own savage truth. If you know him so well, then you must also know Junichi is a depraved maniac whose degeneracy could earn applause from both men and women alike. That night, as Junichi settled in for some late-night anime binging, Nene crept into his bed, demanding access to his golden cucumber. Things escalated quickly, and Junichi found himself caught in a mental deathmatch, a showdown between his inner simp and his inner Chad. The simp version of Junichi pleaded for pleasure, desperate for clapping sounds, while the Chad version transformed into a super scion, declaring that no true man would give in before winning Yukana's heart. Chad Junichi obliterated the simp and declared that all Junichis would remain proud virgins, until Yukana changed that. Back in the real world, Junichi gently pulled a blanket over Nene and told her no. He explained that he respected her too much to take advantage of her when she was vulnerable. That moment triggered Nene's memories, the timid loser Junichi used to be, and now she saw Yukana was right. He had become a true Sigma Chad, one that anyone would fight for. The next morning, Yukana tried cheering Junichi up with some physical teasing. When he didn't react, she smothered his face in her chest. That got the reaction she wanted. And Junichi finally understood. She had been worried about him this whole time. Suddenly, Nene stormed in with fire in her eyes and declared all-out war on Yakana. She announced she would become a cooler, hotter girl and win Junichi and his shiny golden cucumber. Yakana simply smiled and accepted the challenge. A few days later, Shinpei introduced Junichi to the legendary King's game. He explained that with the right setup and a little cheating, it could lead to some spicy moments with Yakana. All Junichi had to do was get everyone together at Yukana's house. At lunch, Yakana started telling him about her summer plans, but Junichi spaced out. When she asked what was wrong, he awkwardly asked if he could come over to her place. She happily said yes until he added that others would be joining too. Yakana, clearly disappointed, agreed, but not before letting him know that they'd still have some time alone before the others arrived. That sent Junichi's brain into overdrive, imagining a steamy yoga session with Yakana on top of him. Yui appeared beside him and asked why he was smiling like a clown. When he mentioned the hangout at Yukana's place, Yui instantly inserted herself into the plans, and Junichi, like the weak man he is, let her join. When Junichi arrived at Yukana's house, she needed to get changed. Alone in her room, he considered sneaking a peek. Yakana even teased him, giving him full permission. But like the disappointment he is, he backed down. He stepped into her softly lit, fragrant bedroom where she sat waiting on the floor. As he gazed at her, Junichi realized how ridiculously lucky he was to have her. And when she whispered, "My parents aren't home," it finally clicked. She wanted this moment. He deeply regretted inviting the others. Yakana made her move, asking if he wanted to touch her chest. He reached out, only for the rest of the girls to barge in and ruin the moment. Hanko raised an eyebrow and asked what exactly was going on. Yakana brushed it off, saying she was just teasing Junichi. After all, she claimed, he was too cowardly to do anything anyway. Then chaos broke loose. Nene pounced on Junichi with her plans. Yui kneed him in the face just because, and Hanko muttered, "Why is she here?" Yui told her to stay out of her trashy business. Soon, the guys arrived, looking like typical keyboard warriors at their first real anime meetup. Junichi introduced everyone, and Shinpei suggested they play the King's game. The girls were suspicious, but Nene and Hanko agreed. Nene saw it as a prime opportunity to go after Junichi's hot dog. Round 1 began. Kigo became the king and ordered number 2 to slap number 5. That resulted in Hanko smacking Junichi right in the face, leaving a red mark. Despite the pain, Junichi was relieved that things hadn't gotten too out of hand. Yet, Shinpei grinned and promised, "Just wait." Round 2 began. This time, Yakana was queen, and she ordered number 1 to speak in a baby voice. It just had to be Yui. When she was chosen as the target of Yukana's baby voice command during the King's game, she didn't even hesitate. She struck a cutesy pose and spoke like a toddler with terrifying accuracy. Round 3 rolled in, and this time Yui was queen. She issued the wildest command yet. Player number 6 had to pose like they wanted their insides rearranged. Lucky number 6? Nene. She nailed the pose. Seductive, theatrical, and clearly aimed at Junichi, who tried his best not to implode. Each round got crazier, but just before the final one, Shinpei told Junichi his master plan. He was going to rig the round so that Yakana would be forced to kiss Junichi. He laid out the cheat method in detail, but Junichi hesitated. Something didn't sit right. The final round began. Shinpei, as the king, gave a double command. Player 1 had to kiss player 2, and player 2 had to kiss player 3. But plot twist, all the players were the boys. Shinpei was horrified. Junichi had flipped the plan, sacrificing himself and the boys to keep the girls away from awkward forced kisses. The girls, however, weren't about to let them off easy. They began cheering the boys on, full of malicious joy. Junichi struggled but gave Shinpei the most half-hearted peck imaginable. Meanwhile, Minoru kissed Kigo like it was prom night in Paris. The girls burst out laughing. The boys? Scarred for life. Yakana leaned over and whispered into Junichi's ear, "Thanks for protecting us." He realized she'd figured it all out, and somehow that made the humiliation worth it. Feeling bonded more than ever, Yakana suggested they all spend summer vacation together. But Nene and Junichi were broke, so Yakana proposed a solution: get part-time jobs together and earn the money. Days later, the boys were over the moon. The idea of spending summer with the girls and their sweet cheeks had them fired up. They discussed job options, and Shinpei, the self-proclaimed popular genius, assigned everyone a role. He snagged himself and Kigo jobs at an anime store. Minoru, the softie, was sent to a daycare. As for Junichi, Shinpei suggested a maid cafe. Junichi panicked, but Shinpei clarified he'd be in the kitchen, not in cosplay. That helped a little. First days on the job were chaotic. At the anime store, Shinpei and Kigo were working under a boss who looked suspiciously like Samuel L. Jackson. They struggled at first but managed to survive day one. Meanwhile, Junichi arrived at the maid cafe and the anime gods smiled upon him. Every girl, Yakana, Hanko, Yui, Nene, worked there. The manager, a creepy old man with a permanent smirk, gave no real instructions. He just ogled the girls. When Junichi showed up, he was cold and barked at him to get to work. The cafe opened. One customer asked Yakana to bless his meal with a magical spell. She sprinkled some sweat like it was fairy dust, and the guy said it actually tasted better. Yui struggled, slipped on the floor, and exposed her iconic blue-striped undies. A customer spilled his drink near Hanko, and as she cleaned it up, he got bold and asked her to wipe his cream too. In return, Hanko dropkicked his soul back to the tutorial level. Back at the anime store, Shinpei took over the kitchen and proved his hands could both defeat villains and prepare 5-star meals. Meanwhile, Junichi accidentally walked in on Yui changing and got slapped into another dimension. Days passed. One afternoon, the AC at the cafe broke. Yakana, sweating buckets, spotted Junichi's drink and took a sip to cool off. Junichi froze, an indirect kiss. He was about to drink it too, until Hanko barged in and he dropped the bottle. Shinpei, now manager of the anime store, began barking orders like a tyrant. The grind continued, day after day, until 1 week remained before their summer beach trip. That night, Junichi lay in bed reflecting. Just one more day of work. They were almost there. The next morning, Junichi arrived at the cafe, only to be greeted by the girls in costumes again. Yakana explained that today was Storytime Day, where the maids would read books aloud to customers. Yui went first, trying to read a book, but immediately rejected it for being too degenerate. She marched off to confront the manager. Nene got curious and picked a different book. It turned out to be a bizarre fanfic where Deku marries Bakugo's mom and becomes his new dad. Yakana, sitting nearby, started to feel a little funny hearing this. Then Hanko grabbed the book from Nene and took things even further, adding, let's just say, happy sound effects to her reading. Junichi, wide-eyed, was clearly enjoying himself, which fired Yakana up. Determined not to lose, she jumped in and began reading her own story, Peppa Pig Goes to School. But the deeper she went, the more inappropriate it sounded. Finally, Junichi snapped, "Can we please stop this degeneracy?" And with that, the girls burst into laughter, and Junichi wondered how on earth his life turned into this madness. Just as things were reaching peak madness at the cafe, the manager showed up, clearly loving the book-reading chaos. But Junichi had had enough. He stood up, called the manager a creep, and demanded that they stop before the girls got further humiliated. Right then, Yui walked in holding her phone. She casually informed the manager that the owner wanted to speak with him. After a short call filled with angry yelling on the other end, the manager shriveled up and vanished like a disgraced NPC. Everyone applauded Yui for saving the day, though Hanko was low-key upset. She really wanted to keep reading those cursed books. The group received their paychecks and began walking home. Yakana turned to Junichi, her cheeks slightly flushed, and told him he looked insanely attractive standing up for them like that. She joked that she almost begged for his babies right there. Junichi asked what other jobs she'd want to try. Yakana said she'd love to work in karaoke or a family diner, but only if he joined her. Then she paused and admitted that even though they were all going to the beach together, she wanted to go somewhere alone with him someday too. A few days later, summer vacation officially began, and the boys were already on the beach, hyped out of their minds about spending the day with bikini-clad girls. Hanko showed up first in a baby blue bikini, then Nene followed, the two girls like complete opposites, one carrying massive floaties, the other smooth as cardboard. But as far as the boys were concerned, all sizes were premium sizes. Nene clung to Junichi, ready to throw herself at him. He was just about to fall for it when Yakana arrived, practically blinding them all with her voluptuous curves and top-tier plot. Junichi immediately knew no one had more storyline than her. He began the day helping Yui set up a beach chair, but as soon as Yakana called him to join her in the water, he ditched the chair and sprinted to the waves. The group played, splashing and laughing. Nene jumped on Junichi's back, whispering that she wanted him to feel what the clouds feel. Yui came in guns blazing, literally, wielding a water pistol and promising to make them even wetter. Meanwhile, the rest of the boys were stuck on dry land, guarding the bags and mourning their lack of action. Still, they happily gazed at the sea of beauties around them. Later, they played beach volleyball. Hanko accidentally spiked the ball right into Junichi's face. She apologized, saying she got carried away playing with her ball. Then Hanko and Yukana offered to go find dinner for everyone. While they were away, Nene suggested building a sandcastle. The gang got to work and created a ridiculously massive one. But as they admired their masterpiece, Junichi spotted Yukana and Hanko surrounded by a group of sketchy guys clearly hitting on them. Feeling insecure, he rushed over, only for the girls to instantly abandon the creeps and walk away with him, leaving the strangers dumbfounded. Later, Yukana asked Junichi to apply sunscreen to her back. He felt the moment had come, but before he could commit, Hanko turned around and asked for the same, from the front. And just when he thought it couldn't get more intense, Yukana joined in too, wanting to be next. As Junichi's brain short-circuited, he slathered creamy white lotion on both girls with a technique passed down by pervy monks. His subconscious wept, unsure whether to praise or panic. Meanwhile, the boys were still sulking, 0 girls, 0 progress. But Shinpei lit a spark of hope. He had a plan for the night, and Junichi had to be involved. At dinner, as Junichi tried to enjoy his meal with the girls, Shinpei pulled him aside and revealed the final mission. Afterward, as the girls prepared for the hot springs, Shinpei and the boys were busy setting up spy gear, ready to catch a glimpse of forbidden cheeks and creamy melons. Junichi tried to stop them. They mocked him. "What? Don't want to see Yukana's dairy twins?" Kigo asked. Junichi answered seriously, "I want to see them, but I want it to be special." Inside the springs, the girls were having a blast. Yui expressed concern about peeping toms, but Hanko said it was fine. Nick Fury himself guarded the place and never left home without his Second Amendment. The teasing began. Hanko messed with Yukana, then shifted her focus to Nene after realizing her snow globes were larger. Yukana and Hanko ganged up on Nene, who pouted with her flat-screen TV chest, but Yukana reassured her with some kind words. Elsewhere, the boys ventured into the woods toward the springs, only to find a trap laid by the innkeeper. Junichi saw this as his chance to sabotage the operation and leapt into the snare. But the trap was a fake, placed by Yui as a loyalty test. The others chased after him, but Junichi tripped and fell off a cliff. With their hero now KO'd, the boys decided to proceed, only to discover the real traps soon after. Kigo hesitated. "Shinpei, maybe we should turn back." But Shinpei's eyes were burning with the fire of perversion. He refused. His dream of witnessing a pair of majestic cheeks was just within reach. Together, they charged through the trap-laden forest like bootleg ninjas dodging motion sensors. But as they reached the final stretch, a barrage of arrows slammed into Shinpei. He fell dramatically into Kigo's arms like a hero in a low-budget war film. "Finish the mission," Shinpei whispered as he handed over the camera like it was a sacred relic. Kigo accepted it with determination, only to immediately step on a landmine. Boom! The fireworks rigged for the girls' evening beach celebration launched into the sky, ruining any chance of stealth. The girls clapped in awe at the display, completely unaware it was fueled by male stupidity. Hours later, Junichi woke up with his head in Yukana's lap. She gently told him they found him unconscious on the beach, and the rest of the guys were passed out in their rooms. As they looked up at the stars together, Yukana shared how happy she was to have made this trip. Junichi, heart-pounding, asked if she'd like to do this again, just the two of them. She smiled and asked what his dream date would be. Junichi blurted out, "A romantic night at an amusement park." They sat quietly, enjoying the moment. Nearby, the other girls watched, finally realizing just who Junichi's heart truly belonged to. Days later, they ran into an old friend of Yukana's named Dai, a smug dude who looked like he was 5 seconds away from flirting with someone's mom and becoming their new stepdad. He chatted with Yukana about the good old days and invited her to lunch with their childhood crew. Yukana agreed, while Junichi stood awkwardly behind her, drowning in insecurity. "Who's the awkward guy hiding in the back?" Dai asked. Yukana replied calmly, "That's my boyfriend." Dai smiled too much. As they walked off, he licked his lips like some low-tier villain planning something stupid. Junichi imagined Dai seducing Yukana, kissing her sensually, and then, slammed his head into a street sign. Flustered, he asked Yukana about Dai and confessed he felt embarrassed when she introduced him. Yukana asked if he really felt that way. When he nodded, she went silent, then walked off alone. That night, Junichi watched a vlog from Hanko talking about how much fun the beach trip had been. The next day, his friends were acting like nothing happened. Shinpei even thanked Junichi for the great summer arc, but Junichi was clearly out of it. Seeing his gloomy face, I transformed into a real friend for once and told him to open up. Junichi explained everything, how Dai was a threat and he felt like a complete loser. Shinpei, being Shinpei, suggested Junichi might enjoy getting cucked and that maybe Dai had the kind of talent that could make Yukana scream. Junichi called him an idiot and denied having such weird fantasies. Just then, Yukana walked in and coldly ignored Junichi. I warned him, if you don't do something now, you're gonna lose the future mother of your children. After school, Junichi tried to make a move. He asked Yukana if they could walk home together. She turned him down flatly, saying she already had plans with her childhood friends. As she walked away, the other guys laughed at Junichi's misfortune and dragged him to karaoke. There, they sang sad love songs while Junichi mourned his crumbling relationship. When a girl's image showed up on the screen, Junichi licked the display thinking it was Yukana. Shinpei slapped him in the face and told him to stop being pathetic. Just go apologize already, loser. Motivated, Junichi left, only to see Yukana and Dai together in a cafe. His heart broke. He imagined himself floating into the sky like an anime ghost, watching the girl he loved smiling with another man. The next day, Junichi was spiraling. He convinced himself that Yukana had just been toying with his emotions the whole time, that she could never love a loser like him. Then a tear fell, and in that moment he realized he really did love her. Yukana greeted him kindly as usual, unaware of his inner turmoil. Junichi couldn't take it. He asked about her being with Dai. She explained that she'd stayed behind to catch up after the others left. Junichi didn't believe her. He lashed out. I'm tired of your lies. I'm just a stupid virgin loser you tricked into falling in love with you. Yukana's face dropped. She looked heartbroken. Junichi saw the pain in her eyes and ran away, confused and ashamed. At school, they stopped speaking to each other. Yui noticed immediately. She confronted Junichi. He said he didn't understand Yukana's feelings, or why she ever liked someone like him. That maybe she was just leading him on. Yui's mood shifted. Shut up, she snapped. For once, stop thinking only about yourself and actually consider her feelings. Just then, Nene jumped on his back, playful as ever, and asked what was wrong. Junichi tried to play it off, but Nene wasn't buying it. She knew him better than anyone, and she demanded the truth. After Junichi finally opens up about everything, Nene slaps some sense into him, verbally. Quit being a selfish idiot, she snaps, or you're gonna end up with me as the mother of your future kids. That night, Junichi watches Boa's latest live stream. She's crying. She talks about falling in love with someone she shouldn't have, someone who already had someone else. Her heartache is raw, and she begs for the guy she once admired to come back, the version of him who was kind, not the jerk he's become. Junichi stares at the screen in silence. He realizes the damage he's caused. The next day, he asks the guys to meet up. Meanwhile, Yukana is in her room, depressed and crying to her friends. She tries to talk about Junichi, but the words get caught in her throat. Seeing her pain, Hanko can't take it anymore. She storms out, vowing to shove her entire fist up Junichi's rear end. Somewhere in a ramen shop, Junichi is sitting with the boys when Hanko kicks the door open like she's in a kung fu movie. She rips into him for being a self-centered, spineless excuse for a boyfriend who made Yukana cry. Junichi accepts every insult and, with newfound clarity, stands up and declares to the entire restaurant, I'm gonna win Yukana back. I won't let her end up with some jerk. Even Hanko is impressed. Just then, Dai and his cronies walk in and sit nearby. The NPCs start talking loudly about how hot Yukana is and how Dai plans to break her in. Worse, Dai brags that once he's done, his friends can take turns. Junichi hears every word, and suddenly, all the memories of Yukana, her smile, her kindness, come flooding back. Fury erupts. Hanko is ready to throw hands, but Junichi steps in. He confronts Dai and demands he take back what he said. Dai laughs in his face and calls Yukana future public property. Junichi grabs Dai by the collar and growls that she's not that kind of girl. Dai signals his crew, and they drag Junichi outside. He's surrounded. Junichi swings at Dai but misses. In desperation, he lunges and bites Dai's leg like a rabid chihuahua. Dai screams. His guys kick Junichi over and over, but Junichi refuses to let go, biting down harder until Dai swears he'll never go near Yuck-Anna again. Just as Junichi starts to believe him, Dai kicks him in the face. But that's when Hanko charges in and slams one of the goons into a chokehold. Two others try to jump her. They end up tasting the curb. She wrecks them like she's channeling the power of a drunk uncle at a barbecue. Dai tries to square up with Hanko, but she's surrounded. Then, just in time, the boys show up like low-budget Avengers. "Junichi," they shout, "stop being a coward and go get your girl. I love you guys," Junichi says, running off to find Yuck-Anna while his friends hold the line. As he sprints across town, he tries calling her, but Yuck-Anna, sitting in a cafe, ignores the call. Left with no choice, he texts her one last message, "Meet me behind the school." Back at the cafe, Yui and Nene try to talk sense into Yuck-Anna. "That loser needs to be put in his place," Yui says. "I don't even know if he really cares about me," Yuck-Anna admits. But Nene, who knows Junichi better than anyone, assures her, "He's dumb, but he's got a good heart." Yui leans in. "Has he ever actually told you how he feels?" Yuck-Anna shakes her head. Yui smiles. "Then ask him. Make him prove it." Meanwhile, Dai and his guys have been thoroughly beaten down. He's the only one still standing, begging for mercy, but no one believes a word out of his mouth. Suddenly, a random little kid appears, distracting everyone. Dai shoves the child to the ground and tries to run. Minoru helps the girl up and glares. Dai mocks him, but Minoru's inner beast awakens. "You don't mess with kids." He chases Dai. Elsewhere, Hanko corners Dai. She tells him losers like him always disappoint in bed, then knees him right in the family jewels. She stomps on his throat, holding him down while Minoru charges in and goes full rage mode. He delivers the final blow that almost deletes Dai's entire bloodline. Back behind the school, Junichi waits nervously in the exact spot where he once confessed his feelings to Yuck-Anna. He gets a photo from the boys showing that they've defeated the enemy. The morons are down. He waits, lost in memory, remembering all the best parts of the past year and realizing every moment has centered around her. Then Yuck-Anna appears. Without hesitation, Junichi drops to his knees. "Please, be my girlfriend." Yuck-Anna begs him to stand up, but Junichi refuses. He continues speaking, tears forming in his eyes, calling himself weak and selfish. But even so, Junichi begins pouring his heart out. He admits that he used to be the kind of guy who only wanted to hook up just to lose his virginity, but not anymore. He's changed, and he knows why. He looks Yuck-Anna in the eyes and says, "I love you." When she gently asks what exactly he loves about her, Junichi responds without hesitation, "Everything. The good, the bad, all of it. I can't live without you." Yukana's heart skips a beat. Her eyes soften as she falls for him all over again. She tells him to get off his knees already. When she asks why he's confessing all over again, he says he just wanted to do it right this time, to express everything properly. With a warm smile, Yuck-Anna invites him on a date. Later, they meet up, and she's wearing the exact outfit Junichi had once chosen for her. He's stunned. She looks perfect, and she knows it. Then she surprises him. Their date is at an amusement park, just like he said he always dreamed of. The thoughtfulness nearly breaks him. They enjoy the rides, get spooked together in the haunted house, laugh on the carousel, and stroll through the park like lovers in their own little world. After a few hours, they take a break to relax. Eventually, they wander into an arcade in search of a photo booth. Junichi gets distracted watching all the couples holding hands and kissing, imagining that maybe Yuck-Anna wants the same. But when he turns around, she's gone. He starts looking around and accidentally walks right into a couple making out. Awkward. Suddenly, Yuck-Anna appears behind him, scolding him for disappearing like that. She grabs his arm and pulls him into the photo booth. The screen flashes a prompt, "Kiss for the perfect shot." Yuck-Anna smirks and tells Junichi, "Go on, do it." Heart-pounding, Junichi leans in to kiss her, only for her to prank him by pulling back and making him do a ridiculous duck face just in time for the camera to snap. Later, they stand together watching the sunset from the pier. She hands him the silly photo strip and steps closer, her tone suddenly tender. She asks him to promise they'll come back here next year, and every year after that. Junichi, touched, asks, "Why do you trust me so much?" She doesn't answer with words. She kisses him, a real one, deep, soft, and full of emotion. Then she bolts, flustered and red-faced, muttering to herself how she can't believe how hopelessly in love with that idiot she is. The next day, Junichi thanks Yui for her advice, but she waves it off, saying it was all him. He's the one who fixed things. Out of nowhere, Nene jumps on his back, teasing him about how he's suddenly looking kinda hot. Yui agrees reluctantly. Then Hanko shows up with Yukana right beside her. Yukana looks at Junichi with that unmistakable glimmer of love in her eyes, and he melts under her gaze. The girls notice the spark and demand they spill the tea immediately. But Yukana grabs Junichi's hand and sprints off with him, determined to keep their romance just for themselves, at least for now. Thanks for watching. We made it to the end of the video. If you're still here, comment nerd below so I know you stayed with us till the very end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around for more anime chaos, cringe, and comedy coming soon.